even as late as August 29th, 2011, in an interview, in an interview with the Financial Times, you said, "I disagreed with the President Obama, his decision to surge in Iraq, as I did with President Bush on the surge in Iraq." Do you stand by those comments, Senator Hagel?
Well, Senator, I stand by them because I made them. And
were you right? Were you correct in your assessment?
Well, I would defer to the judgment of history to sort that out. But
the committee deserves your judgment as to whether you were right or wrong about the surge.
I'll explain why I made those comments. And
I want to know if you were right or wrong. That's a direct question. I expect a direct answer.
The surge assisted in the objective, but if we review the record a little bit.
Will you please answer the question? Were you correct or incorrect when you said that the surge would be the most dangerous foreign policy blunder in this country since Vietnam? Were you correct or incorrect? Yes or no?
My reference to the surge being the most dangerous.
Senator Hagel, the question is, were you right or wrong? That's a pretty straightforward question.
Well,
I would like to answer whether you were right or wrong, and then you are free to elaborate.
Well, I'm not going to give you a yes or no answer on a lot of things.
Well, let the record show that you refused to answer that question. Now, please go ahead.
Well, if you would like me to explain why.
I actually would like an answer. Yes or no?
Well, I'm not going to give you a yes or no. I think it's far more complicated than that. As I've already said, my answer is I'll defer that judgment to history. As to the comment I made about the most dangerous foreign policy decision since Vietnam was about not just the surge, but the overall war of choice going into Iraq. That particular decision that was made on the surge, but more to the point, our war in Iraq, I think was the most fundamentally bad, dangerous decision since Vietnam. Aside from the costs that occurred in this country to blood and treasure, aside what that did to take our focus off of Afghanistan, which in fact was the original and real focus of a national threat to this country. Iraq was not. I always tried to frame all of the different issues before I made a decision on anything. Now, just as you said, Senator, we can have differences of opinion, but that's essentially why I took the position I did.
It's a fundamental difference of opinion, Senator Hagel. And Senator Graham and I and Senator Lieberman, when there were 59 votes in the United States Senate, spent our time trying to prevent that 60th. Thank God for Senator Lieberman. I think history has already made a judgment about the surge, sir, and you're on the wrong side of it. And your refusal to answer whether you were right or wrong about it is going to have an impact on my judgment as to whether to vote for your confirmation or not. I hope you will reconsider the fact that you refused to answer a fundamental question about an issue that took the lives of thousands of young Americans.
I had one fundamental question that I asked myself on every vote I took, every decision I made. Was the policy worthy of the men and women that we were sending into battle and surely to their deaths? And in many cases, unfortunately, tens of thousands of cases that we're living with, these poor families are living with, wounded, the results, the consequences. I know it's easy here, it is anywhere, if you don't have a connection to some of this, to see these things a little differently. It doesn't mean I'm any better, Senator. It doesn't mean I'm any smarter. It doesn't mean I'm any more appreciative of the service of our country. That's not it. I saw it from the bottom. I saw what happens. I saw the consequences and the suffering and the horror of war. So I did question a surge. It wasn't an aberration to me ever. I always asked the question, is this going to be worth the sacrifice? Because there will be sacrifice. In the surge case in Iraq, we lost almost 1,200 dead Americans during that surge and thousands of wounded. Now, was it required? Was it necessary? Senator McCain has his own opinion on that, shared by others. I'm not sure. I'm not that certain that it was required. Now, it doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I didn't make wrong votes. But that's what guides me. When you asked me the question about my time in Vietnam and was I wounded, well, I was a very insignificant part of this. We were just doing our job, Senator, as every military person knows that.